Hey, how are you? Kumusta po kayo? And thanks for tuning in to another edition of Paul Presents Art. So my name is Paul and I'll be your guide today. Today I brought you just outside the Access Gallery here in Vancouver, which is of course built on the ancestral territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh nations, and we're gonna go and have a look at an installation by artist Tiffany Law. So Tiffany Law's installation, which is comprised of prints and drawings, seems to go and look at geology, caverns, and the underworld. So if that intrigues you, please join me. I hope you can join me, and let's go inside. Now that's a cute sign. So we're just gonna go through the door and enter the gallery. And as is customary in my videos, I'm gonna do a pan of the show. We're looking at the front part of the gallery with a drawing on paper installed on the front windows and a freestanding sculpture in the middle of the gallery. The exhibition also includes some small prints assembled in groups and tacked on a few walls. As you can see earlier, the gallery is divided into two spaces. It's usually just one big space, so the central panel dividing the gallery is, I think, temporary and specific to the show. There are drawings, prints, and sculpture made from lumber and gypsum board as freestanding or leaning sculptures. And now what I'd like to do is share bio on the artist. Tiffany Law is a visual artist from Hong Kong, currently based in Vancouver, Canada. Her work in drawing, printmaking, and installation create personal archives that reflect loss and existence, focusing on how grief can resist standardized temporal structures. Through mark making, she externalizes the self and engages with time, weaved by labor, pain, and embodied gestures. So now we're going to go visit each and every work in the show. First piece in the show is the one installed on the front windows of the gallery. It is called Slippery Pool of Time, 2025. Mineral lubricant oil and graphite on paper, 44 by 96 inches each, set of 4. When viewed from the street, it wasn't immediately discernible what it was. Actually, from outside, it looked like some covering used to block the inside view when doing renovations. But when you stand in front of it inside the gallery, my first impression was of a portal, or even the entrance to a cavern. Caverns, of course, are entrances going inside the earth, and in many mythologies are portals to the underworld or to hell. As we approach closer, there are light blue stains on the paper, resulting from the mineral oil used. The influence of printmaking through staining is evident in this work. A stain is a monoprint, and the large scale of the paper, which is rare in printmaking, gives this work a monumental feel, which I think works well. There's a feeling that something is about to happen, something that would jump out, or the viewer gets sucked in. I touch the paper to make sure it's real, but the illusion of an entrance or being entranced becomes alluring even though it's not real. The second piece in the show, which is installed in on the divider in the middle of the gallery, is called The Mouth of Dead Water, 2024. Graphite eraser dust, Canadian $1 coin, 6 tongues, 101 by 130 by 6 inches. This image seems like another portal or entrance to a cave or cavern. I'm just standing a bit further from it in order to take the entire image in. As we move closer, I want to focus on some details, specifically the protruding tongues that are sticking out from the wall. The side view makes them more visible. As I move into each of the 6 tongues, there are shavings or objects on the tongues. Some have eraser shavings on them. Some have this white ash powder, perhaps gypsum. Some are empty, and apparently one or more of the tongues had a $1 or $2 coin resting on the tongues. The coins weren't there when I did this video. Maybe that's the one, I don't know. But conjures up a myth about the cost of passage to the underworld through the services of a ferryman in Greek mythology. Charon is the ferryman of the underworld, and it was his job to ferry the dead across the river Styx and Acheron. As payment for his service, the dead are usually buried with a coin in their mouth and on their tongue. When the dead arrive at the banks of the river, Charon collects his payment, takes the coin from their tongue, and ferries the dead over to the other side. It's interesting to note the significance of the orifice in this body of work. the orifice as represented by the cave or cavern openings, and now the mouth which houses our tongues. And now, we focus on the next pieces that are installed in two places in the gallery. Incarnated Sediments, 2024 to 2025, graphite on gypsum panel. There are three panels with varying dimensions, 45 by 59 inches thereabouts. This work we're looking at are two works installed perpendicular to each other in order to strengthen their support. They are gypsum panels supported by a central beam, similar to how walls are constructed. Each side of the panel have graphite drawings that mirror the works in the show, which feel cavern-like wall paintings. You'll notice that the shape of these panels are similar to paraboloids, or cone-like sections. They seem to me like the shape of the tongue, which is referenced throughout this exhibition. Carving these shapes out of gypsum board seems like a displacement from a larger structure, very much like how artist Gordon Matta Clark carved out whole sections of buildings in order to expose interior spaces which he referred to as anarchitecture. Of course, this is simply a physical similarity. This exhibition by Tiffany Law conjures up ideas about mining and minerals, and how these same elements are used in daily life, such as construction and art. Gypsum, which is the main element in gypsum board, is a soft gray or white inorganic mineral made from calcium sulfate and water. And of course, calcium is the main element in bones. I'll return to this topic a little later after we visit the second installation of this sculpture. Just panning to the other side of the gallery, where we see the third sculpture installed between a wall and a support beam. The construction of this sculpture is similar to the one in the other gallery, made from gypsum board and wooden beams. Getting back to the topic of gypsum, if we look through geologic layers, we may see sediment accumulation from millions of years of compressed organic and inorganic elements. Deposits like these are mined and used as the prime ingredient for making gypsum boards. Due to geologic events such as sedimentation and compaction, our walls may contain elements that are ancient. As calcium is the main element in gypsum, I tend to think of the parallel with our human skeletal bone structure, being made from calcium, and acts as a support structure for our bodies. I think that's a thought worth remembering. As I learn more about Tiffany Law's artistic practice, it seems she has dedicated herself to the media of drawing and printmaking, and extending the media into site-specific installation. These two media, in my opinion anyway, can be explored in a variety of scales, from the intimate to the monumental. We'll get back to that later when we look at the prints. For now, let's focus on the next work called Sanding the Mudded Passages, 2024 to 2025, gypsum panel, graphite on paper, and drywall compound, dimensions variable. This work, the imagery anyway, amounts to another representation of caves and caverns. The sense of this work is rather different from the other orifices in the show, in that this work seems to depict cocoon-like enclosures, something perhaps a mole, a beaver, or some burrowing mammal would construct underground. It just seems nurturing to me, as opposed to the other drawings which refer to the underworld and the dead. It's interesting to note that a mammal in hibernation tends to mimic a dead one. Just an observation. I'm taking this opportunity to focus in on some elements, especially the part with the drywall compound that, for me, seems to extend slightly off the two-dimensional plane of the wall drawing. And now we get to the final works in the show, which are prints. These are installed on three walls of the gallery, with a corresponding metal intaglio plate displayed. The title for this work is Printing a Rock is an Archive of Its Loss, Copper on Copper. 2025 copper ore pigmented intaglio print with printing plate in an edition of 11, 13, and 19 prints, 3.5 by 5 inches each. This set we're looking at has 19 prints. When I first saw this work, they reminded me of dental x-rays of the top or bottom teeth. But upon closer inspection, they could represent rocks or boulders arranged in a ritualistic manner, like the arrangement of Stonehenge. They seem to exude a primordial arrangement that hints at the temporal or deep time. The next set of prints is an edition of 13 prints, same size as the previous work, 3.5 by 5 inches each, and displayed with the copper ore pigmented intaglio printing plate, but with a different image. We're just going to pan the work briefly, then zero in on the print for a closer look. The subject matter here looks like an open mouth, with a tongue sticking out. Connecting this print with the tongue sculptures featured as an element of a wall work we saw previously. As I mentioned earlier, the tongue resonates with the underworld myth of the ferryman of the underworld, Charon, where the passage across a river Styx or Acheron is paid with a coin inside the mouth and resting on the deceased person's tongue, which the ferryman promptly takes before the journey begins. Just zooming in on the copper plate briefly before we go to the last set of prints, which is across the room. And we're just approaching the last work in the show, a set of prints similar to the previous set. According to the diagram I took from the gallery, it seems that all the edition prints in the show have the same title. But if the artist or gallery attendant is watching this video and my information is not correct, please write something in the comment section so that we have that information. This work is an edition of 11 prints, and the copper intaglio printing plate is also displayed as in previous sets. We're gonna zoom in on the work to have a closer look, and zoom out to see the entire installation. This appears to me to depict a different arrangement of rocks or boulders, much aligned with the other set of prints and the larger wall works in the show. It also seems to demonstrate an artificial arrangement rather than a natural occurrence. It can go either way, I suppose. And I think that's a good place to end things. I hope you enjoyed this tour of Tiffany Law's drawing and print installation here at Access Gallery. Please share your thoughts in the comments section below. I'd really appreciate that. Also, if you enjoyed the video, please click the like button and consider subscribing to the channel. They're all free and helps the channel gain momentum. Seriously, as a non-monetized channel, subscribing hopefully achieves momentum for the channel and also creates visibility for the artist and the gallery. Maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat. Thank you so much for joining me today. You have a great day, and I hope art continues to inform your life. And I hope you tune in again soon. Bye.